Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I still remember the exact moment something inside me switched off. It was 2:45 a.m. when I woke up and reached over to an empty side of the bed. Susan wasn't there. The apartment was silent. At first, I thought maybe she'd gone to get water, but the minutes passed and nothing. I sent her one simple text. "Hey, you okay? Where are you?" 30 seconds later, my phone started ringing. Her voice came through loud, sharp, already angry. "Are you serious right now, Albert? You're checking up on me again? God, you're so clingy." I sat up, still half asleep. "I just woke up and you weren't here. I wanted to make sure you're safe." "No, you wanted to control me," she snapped. "You always need to know where I am. You suffocate me." I stared into the dark room. "Susan, it's almost 3 in the morning. I asked one question. You never trust me," she said. "You hover? You question everything. I need space, Albert. I can't breathe with you always watching." Her voice kept rising until it cracked. Then she hung up. I sat there holding the phone, listening to the silence settle back over the room. 3 years together, 1 year living in this apartment. The lease was in my name. Most of the furniture was mine, and lately I'd been covering nearly every bill while she drifted through job searches and late nights out. And now I was controlling because I asked where she was at 2:45 in the morning. Something inside me went quiet. Not broken. Quiet. Like a door closing without a sound. I lay back, staring at the ceiling, and for the first time since we started dating, I realized we had crossed a line we wouldn't step back over. That was the moment everything began to change. Susan stumbled into the apartment just after sunrise. I heard the door click, then the uneven steps down the hallway. She slipped into the bedroom like she'd simply gone out for milk. The smell hit first. Alcohol mixed with a strong cologne I didn't own. She whispered, "Long night with the girls. You were asleep, right?" I kept my eyes half closed and mumbled, "Yeah," letting her believe I'd slept through the call. She climbed into bed without another word and was snoring 10 minutes later. I lay there awake, staring at the wall, cataloging everything. The smell, the timing, the tone she used on the phone. She'd screamed that I was clingy because I asked if she was safe. That wasn't normal frustration. That was someone deflecting. Hard. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions. Questions only feed a liar. Instead, I started thinking in straight lines. Later that morning, when she woke up, she acted like nothing had happened. She made coffee, hummed a tune, kissed my cheek. Meanwhile, her phone buzzed nonstop. Every time I glanced over, she tilted the screen away. I worked from home that day, but not from my job. I reviewed everything quietly. My bank accounts, the apartment lease, fully in my name, the furniture, all bought before she moved in, and our shared expenses, mostly covered by me. Then I noticed something I hadn't paid attention to before. A credit card statement from a card I rarely used. Charges from nights she claimed were girls' nights, late-night ride services, hotel bars, and a boutique hotel not far from downtown. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt done. Instead of reacting, I moved methodically. I called my boss, Martin. "Mind if I work remotely a few days?" I asked. "Take whatever you need," he said. "You sound tired." I called Daniel next. "I might need your truck soon." "That bad?" he asked. "Yeah." "You say the day? I'll be there." Last call was to Claire, a lawyer a friend once recommended for personal issues. I kept the conversation short. She gave me clear advice. Secure documents, move my belongings quietly, keep it clean. By the end of that day, the plan was set. No fights, no drama, just an exit. By Saturday, the gap between us felt like a canyon. Susan had stayed out again the night before. She slipped into bed around 5 in the morning, mumbling something about her phone dying and losing track of time. She passed out instantly. I watched her for a moment, not with bitterness, just clarity. She wasn't the woman I met 3 years ago, and I wasn't the man who kept trying to believe her excuses. At 9, I sent a single text to Daniel. "Ready." He pulled up 30 minutes later with his truck, knocking lightly so he wouldn't wake her. When I opened the door, he looked past me, saw the packed duffel bags, and just nodded. No questions. We moved fast and quiet. I took what was mine, my clothes, tools, laptop, documents, and the furniture I owned long before Susan moved in. I left her things untouched. Personal items, the decorations she insisted on buying, and even the couch she said she hated but never wanted replaced. I moved my savings into a new account. I canceled the shared streaming services tied to my cards. I scheduled the utilities to shut off at the end of the month. Then I wrote a short note and left it on the kitchen table. Susan, this isn't working. I'm moving out today. The lease ends next month, and the landlord already knows I'm leaving. You can stay until the end of the term. If you need anything clarified, text or email. Albert. No anger, no insults, just facts. Before we rolled the last box out, I stepped into the bedroom. Susan was still asleep, breathing heavily, completely unaware that the ground beneath her life was shifting. I walked out without a sound. We loaded everything into the truck, tied it down, and Daniel asked, "You good?" "I will be," I said. On the way out of the city, I stopped at a phone store and changed my number. Deleted Susan from everything. Blocked her on social accounts. By evening, I was on the road to a new city where an old job offer waited. I called the hiring manager. He remembered me immediately and said, "If you still want the position, we can start you in 2 weeks." "Perfect," I said. And that was it. By nightfall, the life I'd built with Susan was behind me. 2 years passed without a single word from Susan. Not a call, not an email, not a forwarded piece of mail. It was like the universe had finally gone quiet. I worked, trained, slept, and lived on my own terms. Nothing dramatic, nothing chaotic. Just structure. Peace. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, everything shifted again. I was at my usual spot, a small coffee shop near the office, finishing some reports on my laptop. A chair scraped across from me. "Well," a familiar voice said, "this is where you disappeared to, Albert." I looked up, and there she was. Susan. She looked different, tired around the eyes, makeup heavier than she used to wear, but she still carried that same sharp confidence, like every room was supposed to rearrange itself around her. I closed my laptop slowly. "How did you find me?" she scoffed. "You really think you can vanish? A mutual friend mentioned you moved out here. Took some digging, but I figured it out." I didn't bother asking which friend. No point. She leaned forward. "You left without warning. You made me look insane. Everyone thought I drove you off." "I didn't leave to embarrass you," I said. "I left because it wasn't working." Her jaw tightened. "We need to talk." "There's nothing left to talk about." "Yes, there is," she said. Her voice changed, quieter but heavier. "You walked out when I was pregnant." I didn't react. Not outside, anyway. She continued, "I didn't know how to tell you. I tried to handle it myself. But our daughter, Lily, she deserves to know you. She's 1.5 years." I sat back. "If that's true, why didn't you reach out? Lawyer, email, anything." "I was hurt," she said quickly, "and scared. And you blocked me everywhere. You think that didn't destroy me? I had no support." I kept my voice even. "Susan, if Lily is my child, we'll do a test. If I'm the father, I'll step up. If I'm not, then this conversation ends today." Her eyes narrowed, calculating something I couldn't yet see. "You'll regret walking out," she said. I didn't answer. I'd heard that line before. 3 days after the coffee shop, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't know. It was Susan. She sent a single message. "Be at this address Saturday at 2. We're doing the test. Don't make this harder." Under the text was the name of a tiny walk-in place with a cartoon logo and a website that looked like it had been made in a rush. No mention of court-approved results. Reviews were either 5 stars with no comments or 1 star with long warnings. I called Claire. She listened patiently, then said, "Albert, don't go to any cheap clinic. You need a certified lab so the results hold up if she tries anything legally. I'll email you 3 approved places." 10 minutes later, I had the list. I texted Susan. "I'm not using that place. Pick one of these 3 accredited labs." Her reply came fast. "There you go again, controlling everything. You haven't changed." Then another. "You owe Lily the truth." Then, "Be a man for once." I didn't answer the insults. I sent one final message. "Official clinic or no test." She called 5 times. I ignored every one. Finally, she agreed to the 3rd lab on the list. Saturday morning, I arrived 15 minutes early. Clean waiting room, proper paperwork, nurses who actually knew what chain of custody meant. Exactly what Claire wanted. Susan walked in 10 minutes late, holding a small girl by the hand. Lily. A man followed quietly behind them. She introduced him as Jack, her boyfriend, without further explanation. He didn't look at me, just kept adjusting his jacket, nervous. Lily was small, shy, clinging to Susan's leg. Susan crouched down and whispered, This is someone we need to talk to. The child looked confused and hid her face. When the nurse tried to do the swab, Lily started crying. Real fear. Instead of comforting her, Susan snapped, "Lily, stop it. Open your mouth." Jack winced but said nothing. They finally got the sample. I took mine without a word, signed the papers, and stepped outside. Susan followed me into the parking lot. "When this proves you're the father," she said, "you're going to pay for the last year and a half. I'm done struggling alone." I looked her dead in the eye. If the test says she's mine, I'll take responsibility, legally, not through threats. 3 days later, the email arrived. Probability of paternity, 0%. Lily was not my child. I forwarded it to Susan. No explanation, no message, just the truth she claimed to want. The moment Susan received the results, my phone lit up with calls from numbers I'd never seen before. I picked up one, just once. Her voice shot through the speaker. "You paid them off. You think I'm stupid? That test is wrong." "It's a certified clinic," I said calmly. "The result stands." "You're not getting away again," she spat, and the line cut. I blocked every new number as it came in. For a week, silence finally returned. Then a process server showed up at my office. "Are you Albert Hayes?" I nodded. He handed me a thick envelope. "You've been served." Susan was claiming I caused her emotional damage, financial hardship, and abandonment during pregnancy. She wanted compensation for therapy, missed work, and pain caused by the defendant's disappearance. I called Claire immediately. She read through the documents and sighed. "This is weak, but we'll respond properly." We built our case step by step. The results showing Lily wasn't mine, old bank statements proving I covered most expenses during the relationship, the credit card charges, hotels, bars, rides, all on nights Susan claimed were girls' nights. In court, Susan arrived in a plain dress, hair tied back, eyes red like she'd practiced crying on the way in. Jack sat behind her, arms crossed, jaw tense. Her lawyer painted a picture of a manipulative boyfriend who monitored her every move and vanished when she was carrying his child. The judge asked, "Did your client attempt to contact him through legal channels? Email, certified letter, anything?" Her lawyer shifted. "No, Your Honor. But did she attempt to confirm paternity through a legitimate clinic?" Silence. Then Claire presented the timeline. Clean, simple, documented. The judge leaned back, unimpressed. "Case dismissed," he said. Then he added, "Miss Wright, you will pay the defendant's legal fees." Susan's face collapsed. "I don't have that kind of money." "That," the judge said, "is not his problem." Outside the courtroom, she snapped, "You ruined my life. You left me with nothing. You think you won?" I met her eyes. "I just stopped letting you use me." She froze, speechless. Then I walked away. Susan never paid the court-ordered fees. Claire told me later that she filed for bankruptcy within 3 months. It didn't surprise me. She had been spinning in circles since the day I walked out of that apartment, always fighting the consequences she created, always looking for someone else to carry them. Through a mutual acquaintance, I heard the rest in pieces. After the lawsuit collapsed, Susan moved back to her parents' house for a while. She bounced between part-time jobs, none lasting more than a few weeks. She broke up with Jack after a string of arguments people in their circle still whispered about. Some said she accused him of not stepping up as a man. Others said he caught her lying about money. Either way, he was gone. Lily stayed with Susan's mother most days. People said the little girl was sweet, quiet, brighter than the chaos she was born into. None of that was her fault. What bothered me wasn't Susan's version of the story. It was how confidently she told it. In her retelling, I vanished when she was expecting, destroyed her mentally and financially, and left her to raise a child alone. She left out the part where Lily wasn't mine. She left out the test, the court, the lies, all of it. But I never corrected anyone. I didn't need to. I kept the documents, the lab results, the court dismissal, the statements that showed exactly what happened, stored in a folder inside my home safe. That was enough. My own life stayed quiet. I kept my number private, stayed off social media, except for a small account with a handful of people I trusted. I worked, trained, went home. No drama, no surprises. For over a year now, I'd been seeing someone. Olivia. Calm, steady, kind. Nothing loud, nothing chaotic. When she stayed late at work, she texted. When I asked where she was, she answered. Simple. One night at 2:30 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. Wrapping up with the team. Got a ride home. Be there soon. I put the phone down and stared into the dark, remembering that night years ago when Susan had screamed that I was clingy for asking the same question. I understood it now. I wasn't controlling. She was hiding, and when she demanded space, I finally gave it to her. Permanently. Thank you for watching.